And WTF, the Lions are 500 and losing ground in the Western Conference already. Revamped, retread, same old, short week, going in, loss. Let's do this. Let's deliberate, commiserate, and pontificate with the three down bros now. Leo's Legion, happy Father's Day from your three down bros, Greg, Arthur, and Roland. And I'm telling you, that's all that I'm happy about is Father's Day because that game on Thursday sucked. 34-20, to me, flattered the way the Lions played. Absolutely no complimentary football. We're here to start this broadcast off with our high level thoughts, or shall we call it, in my case, low level thoughts. Arthur, take it away.
There's some crying in our beverages on that Thursday night. A short week for the Lions, and it's going to be kind of short on compliments from us as well. So the offense is going to get going in the first half until that last minute of the first half and kind of put the defense in a pickle. So I think the Bombers were able to stop run on first down. Maybe they knew it was coming. They owned the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and this put us in second and long. And our second down conversion rate was okay, but I suspect most of that was probably due to second half performance and maybe some score adjusted padding. Like they're up 2 scores, and so they kind of let the Lions get some better stats. Roland, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, first of all, before I get into my thoughts, welcome all of you guys who are joining us on the live stream. Glad that you can join us tonight. As usual, please feel free to use the YouTube chat to banter with us. If we say something that you agree with or disagree with, or if you have a different answer to a question that we've asked, please type it into the chat. We'd love to be able to go back and forth with you. But yeah, my thoughts. Man, what a night and day performance from last week to this week. As Arthur said, we lost the battle of the trenches. Both our O-line and D-line was manhandled by the opponent. For sure, Winnipeg is a much better team than Edmonton, but we should be able to do much better than this. Rourke was scrambling, the whole first half. He couldn't get into a rhythm. So offensive performance was impacted that way. On the defense, we just allowed them to run. We couldn't stop the run, and our DBs were like lost. They were being picked apart. So yeah, really sad game. But hopefully, with the rematch, we'll be able to bounce back. So we'll talk more about that. Greg?
Well, like we said at the top of the show, our keys to the game, and I said we're taking on the Zachless Bombers. But our history with backup quarterbacks is not good and proven again. How many yards did Mr. Strebler hang on us there, Arthur? Couple hundred? Almost 3?
Well, passing wise, it was 246.
Okay. Backup quarterback who's not known for being able to throw a ball. And then they lose the league MOP last year, their main weapon, Brady Oliveira, maybe 4 or 5 plays into the first quarter? They bring in an
he only had 2 rushes.
One was 49 yards?
One was 43, yes.
Okay.
49 total, yeah.
But they lose that guy, bring in an absolutely raw rookie, their draft pick of this year or last year maybe, and he hangs over 100+ yards on our revamped run defense. Anyway, lots has to change in my book. And again, not, as I said at the top of this broadcast, not complimentary football. Just as we get close, something breaks down. We score, big kickoff return, horrible special teams coverage. We get a turnover by the D, offense sputters. We do something good on offense, defense just messes up or just has a brain fart or something. I don't know. So I mean, the good thing is it's 2 games in only. Like Arthur says, it's a long season. We can fix this. But now Zach is coming in here rested, 9 days that they get to prepare against us. But hey, we've got 9 days to prepare against them too. Maybe Oliveira's back, maybe he's not, but they better treat, what is it, Matthew Thompson? Is that his name?
Peterson.
Peterson. They better treat him like he's an MOP because he sure as heck ran on us like he was one. That's it. If I keep going, other language is going to come on. I'm not happy with that performance at all.
Yeah. All right. So let's take a look at some of the highlights. We won't go through all the plays, but just some of the highlights, and then maybe we can dive deeper into what went wrong, what you see, and kind of what went wrong in terms of how the Lions played this week.
The vibes are high in Winnipeg tonight, and why wouldn't they be? A Thursday night football home opener with the BC Lions in town. The Lions opening up their season at home.
So again, if you're online, let us know what your thoughts are. Oh, we got a comment from Q-Man. Q-Man says, fire Benavides. He was awful with Ottawa. Can't believe Buck hired him at DC. Thoughts, guys?
Well, I don't know. It looked towards the end of the year last year that he was starting to call some of the D over top of RP. When he was our DC here under Wally, he was actually pretty decent. We had a very aggressive D. D line was actually quite good when Benny was here. But I don't know. Maybe it's not the personnel. Are they still trying to fit that round peg into the square hole or vice versa? I don't know. Like I said, it's still too early for me to start wanting to fire people. But yeah, Cumin, I hear the frustration in there, and something's got to change. Again, 9 days. This to me is the litmus test. The whole season to me is, and I mean, I know Arthur's probably going to get there. We go,
Greg,
but come on, 9 days. You got Winnipeg coming in here again just to prove it to yourself and prove it to that room. You better have a better performance, and you better win one convincingly. That's, again, it's not the record. It's more for the psyche of this culture that they're trying to, promote within that locker room under the new regime.
Oh, come on, Greg. The Bombers started what record last year?
0-4.
And then 1-5, 2-6, or whatever, right? And who was the West representative in the Grey Cup, Greg?
The Bombers.
Okay. So let you know. 19 league.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
19 league.
I said,
it matters what you do near the end. You get on a roll, right?
I got you. And like I said, it's not anything to do with standings. This, to me, is to do with the psyche of the room. Nathan, again, like everybody says, it's Winnipeg. Maybe there's something in his subconscious. I don't know, but happy feet, lively arm, and then bad hands from the receivers. They've got to beat Winnipeg soundly in our building after, like when it's a back-to-back, especially, just to prove to themselves and to us, not that we're any big deal, but to us and the fans that it can be done.
All right.
What do you think?
Let's take a look at the place. I kind of agree with a little bit of both of you, but also disagree with a little bit of both of you. But
a politician.
No.
Well, I mean, let me talk about Benny. Okay. So I mean, it's just way too early to like be. It's on the DC, right? Number one, we needed a pass rush.
Yeah.
And without a pass rush, Trevor can just sit back. He had all day to throw.
He did, yeah.
And for someone who's not an accomplished passer, like, or definitely experienced or well decorated passer, if he had to run, and you might conjure up some poor throws, but he had lots of time. So I think that was a key thing. And what they lost they lost the battle in the trenches, and I'm thinking that short week has a lot to do with it. And then, so excuses, I know, but everyone has to deal with it. But it's tough when the Lions play Saturday and then they have to travel to Winnipeg on a Thursday. So that's just not a great thing. Yes, they should be able to overcome it, but Winnipeg is fresh, and they just lost the third Grey Cup in a row. So they have something to prove. And then they wanted to win one for Shrevler. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
We'll see this week if they have a full week, so there's no excuse for having a short week now. So we'll see. But let's go through some of the plays, and then maybe some of these comments. Let's put it in context of what we see in the game.
All right.
Okay. All right. So let's.
Leading
Right,
rusher,
so this is
Brady Oliveira tucked into his right. They'll hand it off to Brady.
Winnipeg.
Pushing it ahead, and that's a pickup.
First round about 5 yards.
And they'll run it again. Brady
Another
Oliveira.
run.
There he goes.
There we
He's
go.
going to take off to the 40. Here goes Brady to the 30.
So
Sickening.
what did you see here? I mean, obviously they were able to run against our front 7 or front 6, however many people we had there.
Turned sealed off our outside.
Yeah.
And good blocking by the receiver.
Well, Halata got eaten up, right?
Yep.
And then
you're
Peters got run right by, right? So I'm always in the middle, right? But he went to the left side of the defense, and our linebacker on that side got eaten up, and it's kind of a combination of the defense we're running, right? So already he's into the second layer.
Yeah, and he's still untouched. So my point. One thing I wanted to say in response to them running their backup. I mean, there's still Oliveira here, but the run I think is 80% O-line, 20% running back. They have the same O-line, so even if it's a new running back, as long as it's decent enough to be able to read the blocks, he's going to do well on us if the O-line is and the receivers in this case are blocking, right? He's completely untouched. Look at that, untouched all the way up to here. The first touch was the tackle.
If there's an end zone view, you can see how the blocking happened.
Yeah.
Was it me too, or did JEC get caught really, really flat-footed there too?
He got caught flat-footed, right? I mean,
very slow to react.
He should have. I mean, most likely Oliveira was going to go to the sideline, right? So, and you had support in the middle of the field. So, if anything, like Peters kind of pushed him to the middle, and then JEC I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah.
The Lions
took a bad angle too.
That's a lot of room.
It is.
There's the gaps between their there's level 2 of their secondary and the linebackers. That was a big gap.
Yeah. All right. So that was a big run. Next highlight here. So it goes back for a pass.
So much time.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah. And then cover 0. Boom.
Did they bring Boley up to support the run again, right?
Of course. Of course.
Yeah. So it could be the scheme. They were afraid of Shrevler, his reputation of being able to run.
Mm-hmm.
So
let's say, well, beat us with your passing.
Yeah, because
right.
Undeservedly so. Shrevler has a bad reputation for passing, but this game showed that he can actually pass. Actually, we saw that in the preseason too, right? He was able to pass. So,
I think that's what the TSN panel said was when it comes to an obvious and definitive passing situation, can he do it? And I think he proved himself more than adequate.
Yeah. Well, he had the first team reps, right? They knew Zach wasn't going to play, so he could properly practice with the first team receivers. So.
Yeah. Okay,
here we go.
Yeah, we got the ball now. So 3-man rush. And he gets flushed out of the pocket. I mean, Hatcher caught it. But
it was offside.
Who was offside? Winnipeg? I don't remember. But here, he steps up and then there was someone spying him. That's a good scheme, right? They're able to apply pressure with a 3-man rush, and then someone spying him. So he
and how many bombers are in that area too? Look at that. In that 10-yard area, look at how many bombers are in there. Oof.
So in response, I know a lot of people are talking about Rourke. He's got something with Winnipeg and all that. I don't know how much of that played in his head, but to me, the most obvious thing is the O-line was not protecting him in the same way that they did with against Edmonton. He was rushed so many plays in the first half, right? Yeah, this one was a little bit high for McInnes. Should McInnes have caught that? I don't know.
Well, there was a linebacker underneath, right? So look at that. So you put it any lower, the linebacker's going to get it. So he had to throw. It's a tad overthrown, but I think it's still a catchable ball.
And I don't think you could. Did he have his feet settled on that one? I can't. It's a little too far for me to tell. But
here, let's see.
Oh yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, that one was fine, but he had a deeper drop.
Yeah.
And that should have been a catch. But.
So our star receiver maybe, he should have been able to catch that, right? So.
Well, yeah, I think so.
Okay. So we lose possession. Another run. Who's this? Is this a backup now?
No, I think Oliveira has a couple more. He was about 4 or 5 plays in. I think.
2 rushes, Greg. 2 rushes.
This was the one?
This is the backup.
Rush.
This is the backup.
Yeah. So.
It would have been a lot longer of a night if Oliveira actually kept playing.
Had been, yeah.
The Bombers' second down conversion is actually lower than the Lions.
Okay.
So, which is surprising to see the stats.
Okay. 6 yards to Katoy.
Nate just did not look comfortable all night.
Yeah. But this run was good. We did something out of nothing. Oh, another comment from a Q-man here. We know Winnipeg was going to drop 8 to 9. That's what they did to VA last year. Yeah, true.
But they were still able to they were still able to win the battle on the line with 4 guys.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. Our O-line underperformed, right?
And it helped. I think we tapped on a 50 yards after that too, right?
Yeah, because he was clearly out of bounds, and then.
But I guess he's out of bounds here. His left foot is out here. Right?
Yep.
But he didn't initiate the tackle in the field, right?
Okay,
So that's why you can't hit you can't hit someone when they're out.
Okay, this was batted down.
Jefferson.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Jefferson. It was.
Well, there's 2 of them jumping up. It's like a volleyball.
Yeah.
Something. Oh.
How do you guard against this? Like, how do you overcome this when they're jumping up to bat the ball down? Because you're not looking at them. You're looking at the receiver, and just peripheral vision, you see them there, and it's really fast. Is there any way you can defend against that?
Well, you
have a better. Go ahead, Arthur.
Well, I think in his drop, I think what Greg was to say, like his drop, right? They're all keying on where he is in the pocket in the drop, right? So he can change the depth of his drop, or he can kind of sprint out. But I don't know what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
Or you can just get some hats on those guys and block them so they can't.
Well,
but again, it's a skill with those guys too to get their arms up. On the speed a guy can let a ball go. So, but I think Arthur said you roll them out because again, they were just pinning their ears back and coming pretty much all night.
Yeah.
They had a lot of guys on the line of scrimmage, right? So they were spread out. So that's why he was going to hit the hot guy, right?
Yeah.
And they just kind of knew where the hot receiver. They just jumped because they had nothing else to do because there was no one between them and Rourke at that point.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they were going to jump. He's going to throw.
Yeah, that was an incomplete, but that was a deep pass. he stood on his head for about a second there.
I thought, okay, maybe there's a chance here, right? We're down by 7.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, another slow start by the Lions, and then maybe this would be, and
But-
then the sack.
Yeah, the sack.
Yeah.
So this goes to what Greg said, right? Non-complementary football. We have a turnover. Peters makes that spectacular interception, and then our offense sputters. How
And
did
that
this
guy
guy
came
get
in
in?
free.
You see the two. You see
Yeah.
the two Lions in the backfield collide to each other.
Yeah, these two. Who are they?
I think it's
I
a
can't see
jet
it.
sweep with Butler. So the jet sweep receiver and Butler hitting each other, and of course you have a bomber coming free.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I think the jet sweep guy should have been over there by the time he comes in. I think.
Well, I think that I think it's a misdirection, and maybe Butler is supposed to pick up.
Yeah, but they crash.
They hit
into
each other, yeah. So Butler maybe the wrong depth, and then Nate should have actually, yeah, maybe Nate thought he can beat that guy to the edge.
Oh, you know what? I think so. I think Butler had a fake. So Butler was faking a hand, and then I think this guy was trying to go and block this.
Yeah.
And he started too late because I think he started a little late hitting Butler
Yeah,
because he's running right into Butler's path, and he didn't look like he knew where he was supposed to go either. Took a couple steps and like, oops.
yeah. So that's why that guy was free.
Who is that? Is that a receiver? Was that a receiver?
Has to be a receiver.
Can't see what number that is though.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
Yeah. So Human says cut lineman on short drops. Cut lineman. You mean like a
Yeah, cut block them.
Cut
As long as they're inside the tackles, you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't. In this case, I don't know if it would have helped because this guy was on the outside and there was no one in front of him.
Oh, that's just an execution thing. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to take some time, right?
Yeah.
And without a bye week, there's just
But you
not
see,
a lot of.
you see what he's doing. He's staying upright, twisting his body, and I think he did that just once too many this game. That's how he got hurt, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So
Well,
he had
look at that
guys
under
in his
pressure.
face. Yeah. So not a well thrown pass. Kotoy couldn't pull it in. Yeah, look at this, like 5, 6, 7 yards, right? Okay, yeah, Q-Man was saying, yeah, cut D-line, yes, the stop ball's being batted on. Oh, okay, so he's responding to what we said, what we asked earlier about
How to defend it.
Yeah, how to defend it, yeah.
For that play, it wouldn't have mattered because
Yeah, that play, there was no one in front of those two
No, yeah.
guys. But, yeah. Yeah, see all these, this reminds me of last year, right? All these missed tackles. They end up getting a first down when they should have been tackled at the first point of contact there.
It's a good play by the receiver, Wheatfall, right?
Yeah.
Or is it Clarius?
Okay, another run.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That's a touchdown, I
It's a
think. This
daylight,
one.
yeah. Man, look at that. So
Untouched.
he was touched a little bit here. Or maybe he
Yeah, but-
wasn't. Maybe he wasn't.
It's
Well, I
like
mean, it's
arm
just-
tackles at best.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was really good downfield blocking by the O-line of Winnipeg.
Yeah. Let's take a
They
look
got
at this.
they took out 2 linebackers.
So they ran right by our rushing
Galata got
line.
hit
O-line.
there.
Yeah,
Galata
that's the
gets
ri-
hit right there.
This is the right guard
Yeah.
making the tackle right there.
And then someone else is gonna take away.
So he's got it in his mind right away. I'm
Always
taking
getting
out
hit.
Vladeck.
Yeah.
And Dante
Right.
Williams get hit. So
Yep.
1, 2, 3, all linebackers are getting taken out. And there's Beaulieu down there, right? At the lower hash, trying to come up. So he was playing like the fourth linebacker. 3 get taken out by the O lineman.
How many did we rush?
We rushed 4.
And 3 O linemen went right by them directly to our linebackers.
Yeah.
Well,
because one of our
this guy was sealed, right? So
so they go right by our O lineman. We rush.
The left guard seals him. The left tackle takes out the right defensive end. Then the right guard takes out number 3 there.
This is beautiful blocking.
Oh, it's great blocking.
But we couldn't beat. No one can beat their man in the first 7. In the first 7, right?
Yeah.
We basically couldn't shed a block.
Yeah. Well, Matthew Betts shed his block, but he was too far to make the play.
Yeah.
By the time he shed the block, the guy's already past him.
Yeah. Or
even with him, and that's you might even they're leaving.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, Arthur is right. It's the downfield blocks by the linemen, right?
And then the receivers took out the halfback. You'll see the halfback.
Right there.
And then
so
Beaulieu's not in the safety position. He's the fourth linebacker. And then so there's no, and if you take out that halfback, in a cover 0, and then there's a nice cut. There's a nice cut, but he's in space, right? But now he's in space, and they're pursuing. That's a nice cut.
I mean, even if the tackle was made there, that's like 20 yards already, right?
I don't know. JEC just did not look like he was aware all night to me. But, I've been saying that for years now. First time around, he was here too.
Yeah. But those are the keys to a good running game, right? The O-line blocking, making not just blocking on the line of scrimmage, but blocking downfield. And receivers making and holding their blocks, right? Like, this is holding your block until the guy passes through, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. You're not arm tackling a running back like that.
So we know that Winnipeg has always been good with the run, right? So it's just continuing on with or without Buck Pierce. They have a culture. The culture has been instilled in them. So, I'm hoping that, I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm hoping that Buck Pierce will instill that culture with the Lions too. Because we don't have a culture of running.
It'll take a third to half a year at least, in my opinion.
Yeah. Because everyone's doing their part. Okay, we got the ball back now.
That's where his ankle got a little hobbled.
Yeah. Well, Kim says Helatic got benched after this run. 53 went in. Okay, the touchdown run that we saw earlier. Okay, I didn't know that. Who's 53 again?
I'm not sure.
It's not the Lewis guy, right? Lewis was not playing.
No, he's out with an injury.
Yeah.
Richardson.
Okay, this is one of the few good plays where we made contact behind the line of scrimmage. Okay, this was pretty good too. Strevler.
And then our return game.
Yeah, no return. Let's start this from here.
Ever in your heart, Greg. Ever in your heart.
This is the end of the second quarter. Deep pass. That was Eberhardt. Okay, Q-Man says 53.
Can we go back for, was that Brady Oliveira still in? Can we go back? Never mind. We're too far in, but I could have sworn I just saw a 20 on the field there. But anyway.
No, it won't be him.
Greg,
it won't be him.
He only had 2 rushes.
Yeah.
according to the stats. And he was out like first quarter, halfway through the first quarter,
Yeah.
he was definitely out of the game. So.
All right, so we have a little bit of life with that deep pass to Eberhardt. Rourke trying to getting a first down on his own again. Okay, Butler couldn't make it, and Rourke goes in. So I'm really nervous here when we have Rourke doing short yardage goal line plays. I mean,
that kind of short yardage when they go slides down the line like that, I'm a little bit better than the dive into the crowd. But yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
I mean, he eventually did get hurt anyway. So, but he, these are high risk plays where he could get hurt, right? And if he gets hurt, that's the end of our season. Okay, so this is McInnes. This is his second catch of the game, I think, right?
Yeah, I think they must have tried to get him going. They're like, okay, well, we got to get him. We got to get this guy involved.
Yeah. What do you think? Was this forced? I mean.
Okay.
Two guys there.
Well, no, it's not forced. Okay, so what's going on, right? You know what's going on, right? They're rushing 3 or 4. They're getting pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah.
So if you're Jordan Younger, you know you can get pressure on 4-man rush, maybe even a 3-man rush. You're gonna drop guys back, right? So, but what Winnipeg is doing and how they're very successful against Rourke is they flood the short zones, right? So they're susceptible deep.
Yeah.
Well, the number one is if you can get pressure on the quarterback with 4 men, you take away the short zones. Or you go man, or you go press, or you play a shorter zone. Therefore, when Rourke's under pressure, he's going to try to throw the ball to his hot receivers. They're all covered, right? So, and then you're going to induce turnovers and things like that.
Yeah.
So, how you beat them is you have to go deep to stretch out the zone. So, I don't think it's a waste.
Okay.
And
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, but you see, that's just how Winnipeg is beating us.
Yeah, but there's no separation between Hatcher and his.
Well,
defender.
question is Hatcher the one you're going deep with? I mean, that's the. I mean, yeah. I mean, but
in this play, he was the deep guy. But.
Yeah. But in like I think the question was framed: is a deep ball a good? Was it forced? Well, you have to spread the field. Now, question is, I want to spread the field with a speedster.
Yeah. With Barry Hill or Eberhardt.
Yeah.
Eberhardt.
Yeah. But you see, and then sometimes they'll actually blitz too, right? So you don't know, and then they'll really flood the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And they're smart, right? Like like this defense, they're smart. They know, okay, if it's gonna be a quick hit, then I'm gonna jump, I'm gonna get my hands into the lane.
Yeah. So 7 guys here, but number 5 jumps.
Yeah, but you see, look at that. How many guys are line of scrimmage? And we're all the bombers. They're all how many bombers are on the first yard distance, like 10 yards away?
I count 6 at least on my screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
So there's one guy deep, right? There's one guy deep.
But yeah, this is second and long. So they know, right? Second and long, they can.
And they brought 7, right?
Yeah, they brought 7.
And they had 5 in the back.
Yep.
And they rallied to the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've got 3 in that kind of open end, but then they rally quickly.
Yeah, and then we had 5 receivers, and they're in simple kind of like man coverage.
Yeah.
But then they saw the quick hit because they're blitzing. And if they got it to McInnes, it would have been a little better. But
yeah, I mean, all 3 of them were open because, like you said, right? The 5 guys were all here.
Yeah, you have two clearing out.
So
right, the 2 guys are clearing out the zone, searching out the zone. So you have the 3 underneath guys.
Any one of these 3 guys would. But What was
But
what
again,
was
it's 2nd and 10, and those guys have all that time to close
yeah.
because that pocket is closing quickly. So,
But what the unexpected was this guy jumping up and batting it down, right?
Yeah. Well,
So
he had to loft the throw versus just drill it,
yeah.
and then you'll see what happens.
Okay, we got a comment from Todd S. You'd think Hatcher would go outside. I think this was the previous play when Hatcher went deep, right? Is this what Todd's talking about?
Well, he was hitting the seam. He was doing a seam route in a deep ball, right? That was the previous play, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Okay. But here, even here, right? If let's say it wasn't batted down and Hatcher did catch it,
the guy's right there.
yeah, split second later he would have been hit, right? So yeah, Winnipeg is just keyed in. You know, they're just zoned in, right?
Yeah, see, even if it wasn't Hatchers, any of those other two guys, the next guy, they maybe would have got 8 yards tops on that game.
Yeah.
so like maybe your hot receivers not like okay, so like Jefferson's smart, right? He's lining up in the boundary, right? And
Yeah.
and then maybe you throw away from him who has a
Yeah.
propensity to knock down balls,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So maybe you throw to the field side. I mean, I don't know. It's easy. Hey, it's easy to say now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Easy to say now, but
Yeah.
he was open, and Hatcher was having a better game
Yeah.
than McInnes. Interesting, they put Hatcher back to the boundary slot for that.
Yeah. So this they're pinned back near their own goal line.
Oh, and
Second
Gary
down.
bit on that little.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even. Was it even a pump fake? Not even
Yeah,
a pump.
he just waited a little bit too long.
Well, he thought it was going to be a quick pass.
Yeah.
It was a 2nd and 7.
Right there, the guy kind of dipped in, and that got Gary to go in, and then the guy ran right by.
Yeah, he
Human
did
says
have it.
Peters had a tough
Yeah.
game. Yeah, he did.
Peters and JEC to me both could have played way better.
At this point, Peters was still looking at Strevler. Right, his eyes are towards Strevler, and by the time he looks back, that's the guy's already blown past him here. So I'm not sure if it was the guy faking him out. I think he was trying to read Strevler, but it just took him too long to read.
Still an 8-point game, and early in the third quarter, so critical error.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice adjustment. Halatic in the game, by the way, there.
Yeah.
Oh. Look at all that time he's got.
Boom.
Yeah.
Look at that. Not even a line jumping up to anything. Just
Well, they had max protection called, and
Here's another deep one.
this was a massive answer, right?
It was, yeah. So again, there was no separation here, but
50-50 balls.
the
These are
defender
50
trips on his own.
Yeah. 50-50 balls, right?
Yeah.
So
no separation until he tripped, and then it was. If he hadn't tripped, he may not have caught the ball. Here we have two guys deep, right? Barry Hill is down here too, but he still chose Hatch. I guess by the time he releases the ball,
Barry Hill can scoot over. No, there's home is with Barry Hill, right? And then home.
yeah.
home left to go.
Yeah.
Balls in the air, so home's going.
So here Barry Hill is behind the defender, and Hatch looks. I think Hatch was looking like he was going to go past the defender by the time Rourke passes the ball, right? But good block here. This is what I like to see, right? Receivers, blocking for their fellow receivers.
Yep.
All right. So 16:25. We could still be in the game. I think it's still the third quarter here, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you're still,
We answered back.
You're down by 8, and then this was a key. And then they got a field goal.
But I think they had a great return off of that too, correct?
Probably. You know, an 11-point game.
Yeah, this is I think that when Rourke was not expecting the ball to be snapped.
Yeah, he got
So he was just not in sync.
Couture had a rough game.
Yeah.
So now it's an 8-point game. Second and 5. Gary Peters, man on man, and just got beat inside. In his prime, he gets a hand on that pass. It was a good pass. He put it right where it needed to be, but
yeah.
Typically, I haven't seen Gary get beat like that.
Yeah. Well, Gary has to stay on the outside, right? He can't let him go outside.
Yeah.
But he just was a bit too far.
Yeah. That's hard. That's hard to beat. Hard to It was well executed.
Yeah. All right. So we got out of under our goalposts. Okay, McInnes. That's a good catch by McInnes.
So Nate's starting to get better.
Nathan says, hard to believe it was Strebler that was dropping dimes and not Rourke. Yeah, absolutely. And I go back to what I said earlier, Nathan. It's because of the O-line, right? Winnipeg's O-line was executing well, giving Strebler time, while ours wasn't.
Ours was being schooled.
Yeah.
And they didn't learn. This was a little frustrating to watch too for me. It was only coming in, and some things happened, some things didn't, but it was painful.
This is score effects, right? You're down. You're down 14, and they're going to give them underneath stuff, and then
and then this interception was a killer. Wow. I think this interception kind of sealed the deal, right? Mm-hmm. That's the last thing you can do when you're in to manage the game, right?
Here's some food for thought. Let's say Mazzoli marches us down and brings us 34-27. Still a chance in the game with no Rourke?
Yeah, I mean 34-27 is still manageable.
You have an experienced quarterback, and you never know.
Yeah. All right. So that's the game. Okay. So we've gone through our high level thoughts. We've done some analysis to back up those thoughts. Any more thoughts, or should we go to Arthur's questions? Let's go to Arthur's questions.
All right. Our weekly questions for the Three Down Bros. Roland, who is your Lions Canadian player of the game?
Lions Canadian player of the game. It's hard because, number one, I didn't have that many. We don't have that many Canadians. Well, who is it? Like, we have Betts, we have McInnes, we have Rourke.
We have 7 starters, and then you have all the
you
have all the part-time players.
We have Couture. So Couture had a bad game. McInnes started really slow. Towards the end, he started to get into it. Betts, he had a few good plays, but not nowhere near the amount of pressures that he normally would give.
Okay, then you have Rourke.
Yeah.
Then you got Bolio.
You have Couture. You have
you got Hladek.
Okay, so Couture, being a representative of the old I'm sorry, Couture, but I can't give it to you. Bolio, we saw he was out of position. I don't know if that's his fault or whether it's a scheme, but
well, that's the scheme. They bring him in, right?
Yeah.
They support.
They put him where they put him, and then they run away from him.
Oh, Q-Man. Good stuff. We forgot about
Yes.
Sean White.
Yeah.
Sean White, true. He was, how many, what was his
He's
stat?
2 for 2.
2
2
for
for
2.
2.
2 for 2. I mean, I was going to give it to Rourke, you know, the best of the bunch, but I think
Yeah.
Rourke didn't have a good game either, so I think
Oh.
he wouldn't have deserved it. So yeah, I'll give it to White. Thanks, Cuman. You gave me a good answer there. All right.
Aha. So next, Greg, any thoughts on that?
No, I would agree. I would agree because again, Haladic, he was eaten up on a couple of the run plays. Maybe not his fault. Could be, you know, just the scheme of Winnipeg's blocking. But I mean, Winnipeg's blocking shows pure desire. You know, that one play where, what was it, 3 linemen, each man on man took out our linebackers on that play. They're not even thinking about our on rushing D line. They went right to their assignment, executed. So yeah, and Bolio, chase position, no actual bearing on the game. So yeah, I think Sean White is the best one. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Roland / Cuman.
It was Cuman, but thank you, Cuman. I would have chosen someone else.
Bolio 4 defensive tackles. And Haladic 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Haladic's supposedly close to the, well, no, because they bring Bolio up. So hard to say. But yeah, if Nathan Rourke was your player, Canadian and best of the bunch, is okay, yeah, 2 touchdown passes looks good, but to me, a tad misleading. He was not in command of the game from start to finish.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't all his fault, but yeah.
Yeah, he missed some throws.
Yeah.
So, all right, next is Greg's Lions unsung hero of the game.
Well, at one point, it was number 19, Eberhardt, because he was the first guy to get something going. Like, he actually had to bring on the game, but got to take it away from him because another guy just showed up and made himself noticeable to me, and that's Jonah Tavai. You know, relatively unknown last year. Still relatively unknown this year, but in that second half, and we're still within a score or 2. He was really making his presence felt down that stretch, trying to just do everything he could to stem the tide, to change the tide. You know, he was making tackles. He was, as the TSN guys were saying, he was trying to be the wall all on his own. And, you know, he was, you know, as much as it pains me to say, the Winnipeg offensive line was the superior of the 2 when Winnipeg had the ball.
Yeah.
But Tavai was doing his best to hang in there as, you know, I would say his first year as a starter. So yeah, I'm going with Jonah Tavai, number 99.
All right. Awesome.
As my unsung hero.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And lastly is my Lions big picture moment, coaching decision, staffing decision. I had a hard one because I'm like, okay, was there an adjustment made that affected the game? Of course, they lost. The margin of victory or margin of defeat grew.
Yeah.
So there was no like.
I mean, they played better in the second half.
You couldn't play worse into the first half until the last minute, right? It was 2 for 11.
Well said.
2 for 11 yards passing, right? I mean, it was pretty I mean, I could say, okay, they went downfield, you know, but that's kind of weak.
Yeah.
So, and then I was looking at maybe they held into the rushing attack, but then I'm seeing RB had 10 rushes. You know, and I'm like, okay, well, JB had 10 rushes. And then I would say, well, okay, maybe they utilize him in short passing plays, right? But he was 5 for 9. You know, some of those were just thrown on his feet to escape a sack for 42 yards. And then they won yak for 33. But I think it was most of that yak was when Mazzoli hit him.
Yeah.
And and Winnipeg didn't care, right? So I have to say, this was a really tough one because a lot of their adjustments did not work. A lot of the things that they wanted to do in terms of being tough and physical in the line of scrimmage did not work on both sides of the ball. Mika Awe, 10 defensive tackles. So they're 10 defensive tackles.
I really didn't notice him.
Okay.
Well, so that would be their player recruitment or recruitment. Because without him, yeah, we were in trouble. I mean, he kind of kept. I'm really reaching here, guys. I'm really reaching here, but he's a recent addition, and 10 defensive tackles.
Yeah.
That's the best big picture moment of the game.
I'm giving that to Arthur because, man, if I was Arthur, I wouldn't be able to find one.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
Yeah, good stuff.
I had to
agree
search
with
far and long
Well,
for something.
yeah, I mean, 10 tackles, and Tavai had six tackles, 1 sack.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, Tavai did do well. He had 1 tackle for loss too, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I agree with you. Okay, next segment, we're going to look at our predictions from last week, and let's see who's the closest.
Well, I don't.
So we all said BC's going to win, so we all lost that one.
So how are we going to be close?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, Greg's margin of victory for BC was 4 points, right?
Okay.
So, but it doesn't matter if we all picked the wrong team.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter.
So it's a wash this week then?
It's a wash.
All right. It's a wash this week. So before we do next week's prediction, let's talk about what do we need to do for this rematch?
What do we need to do better, or what needs to change?
Yeah.
Everything. I'm sorry. No,
pick one or two.
Pick one thing. If there's one thing you can change, Greg.
Win the trenches, or at the very least, hang even in the trenches. Like stalemate it. I don't know. Like just the trench battle has to be better. Has to be better. I mean, the complementary football, that'll take care of itself, I think, if we can handle the battle in the trenches better.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, I think in my mind that's the highest priority. But now, Arthur and I need to think of something else.
Well, I mean, that's.
Oh, before you go, Todd says, as bad as they were still in the game into the 4th, and I believe they only had 1 practice that week. That's true. They only had 1 practice. It was a short week, like we said, so they were not fresh. Yeah, they were hanging in. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. They were hanging in there. It was still winnable till partway into the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, when you're on a short week, you can't change that much. Winnipeg had time to watch the Elk game. They had time to study the Elk film all through their off time, which is their week, and then our week is spent traveling. Winnipeg can still be prepping on all that film work. So,
and had Rourke not been injured, maybe that interception would not have happened. Who knows? Oh, talking about Rourke, by the way, anyone know what his condition is?
Yeah, they haven't had a practice yet, so.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Arthur, your keys for what needs to change.
Well, win the trenches. That's like 4 major components, Greg. So it's kind of like.
Okay. I'll slow down.
There's a pass rush. There's run defense.
Protect the quarterback better. The O line. We have to win the O line. Our O line has to at least stalemate. Has to like even Steven minimum.
So Greg, for you, I'll say pass protection.
Pass protection, sure.
All right.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. So for me, if I recall how we beat Winnipeg in the past.
Yeah, with VA.
With VA was when our pass rush was just all over Caleros.
Yeah.
And that's when Betts had a massive game.
Yes.
And he had 3 or 6 points net points the whole game. So we need a pass rush because right now we can get to the quarterback, then it just makes things much easier, right?
Everything falls apart.
Yeah, everything falls apart, especially second and long. If we can get them second and long and then we can get pressure on the quarterback, then they're not doing chunk yards on us, right? Of course, that means that there's a lot of things that have to happen in that scenario where then their run offense is not just running over us, right? So we have to at least get them in second and medium and second and long, where it's an obvious passing situation, and then we get a good pass rush. So I would say a much better pass rush that will let the defense try to. I think the defense needs to win one for the Lions, especially if Nate is out.
Yeah.
then I think the defense has to win. And you can't let up. You can't give them 34 points.
Yeah.
Quick question, just to throw this out there. With Zach coming back, does their O-line let up a little bit because they know it's Zach back there? No. Okay. I just thought I'd reach.
Who's the head coach, Greg, of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers?
Mike O'Shea.
And do you think O'Shea lets up at all on anything? And he has instilled a culture in that organization.
That's true. I was just hoping, they know they got Zach back there, so they might relax a little bit.
They've been to the they have had 3 Grey Cup losses in a row. And they host this year. This is the year to make amends.
Yeah, they're not going to. Q-Man says, you're dreaming, I guess it is to your comment, Arthur. You're dreaming on improved D-line play, even with Tehama interrotate with Turai. Is that Tuvai? And Betts. I mean, we can dream, but we've seen it. We've seen it, right? Like, Arthur said last year, it was against Winnipeg that we were doing this. So it might feel like we're dreaming, but we can dream because...
Let us dream, Q-Man. Let us dream. Don't take that from us, Q-Man.
Yeah, true. We got to have some hope. We still want to watch the game.
I mean, Betts is being paid a lot of money. We did bring in Hendricks. I think Tavai has taken a step forward. Covington is getting more used to this league, and then we have Tehama back. So I have reasons for optimism, and we do have a full week, 9 days to prepare for this game. So we're not, and we're at home. So there's a lot of, there's room for some optimism.
Yeah. Okay, Nathan asked a question. I guess it's directed to you, Arthur, but I guess Greg can answer too. Is there something the defense scheme wise if the personnel can't get through to their quarterback? So if our front four can't get to the quarterback, what can we do to still prevent them from running all over us?
I mean, we obviously you blitz for your linebackers, or you have a halfback blitz, or you blitz Bulio, right? So that's one thing you can do, but you can't always blitz, right? But you have to mix it up. You can do zone blitz where you.
That's what I was going to say, zone blitz.
You overload one side, you drop one end to as a linebacker, right? So they do that sometimes, or they'll drop Betts back, and they'll overload the other side. And also, it's just you got to get them in second and long.
Yeah.
So that it's a passing play, but if what we saw a lot was it was second and medium or second and short.
Yeah.
They run it again. It's like 3rd and a half yard, and then they're going to make that 3rd down conversion, and it's just chewing up and wearing out our defense, right? So Winnipeg is just classic at, okay, it's 2nd and 5, I'll get 4 yards. And then it's 3rd and 1, no problem.
We'll get 2.
Yeah. So, and then it just wears out the defense, right? So they're just so good at doing that.
So Todd asks a follow-up question. He says he was thinking the same thing as Nathan. Does the line stunt at all, our D-line? I don't see too many stunts from our D-line. We get burned when the opponent's D-line stunts. Our offense doesn't pick it up. But we don't seem to stunt as often. In these last 2 games, I know last year I remember seeing a few stunts, but these last 2 games I haven't seen too many stunts from our D-line. Maybe that's another thing, right? You don't just rush forward. You switch over, have Betts, cut inside, have the D tackle go outside, or confuse the O-line a little bit. Maybe we can get more pressure.
Is Winnipeg's O-line confusable? They must be. Or bring someone late. Stunt and bring someone late.
We have a new D-line coach, right? Again, I mean, Bowman was a really good D-line coach, I think. And we had him for a few years, and then he's moved on. So we have a new D-line coach.
Randy Melvin, I think it is.
So again, it just takes time, right? When you have a new coach, and most of the personnel is the same, but still it takes time.
Yeah. So Q-Man says we get burned by rush 3 and delayed blitz linebacker. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we've seen that. Yeah. I mean, We also end up killing ourselves when two of our backfield guys run into each other, so we can't even pick it up, right? So
Yeah, we take out our own
for
guy,
sure.
but not their guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Yeah, we could do that, right? Delayed linebacker blitz. We could do that too. It works against us. We could use it against our opponents too.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering, we've been asking reports about Nate. Have we seen any reports about Brady? Because I saw one that he may miss multiple games with a shoulder injury.
That's what I saw
but
too.
Doesn't seem to make a difference because that Peterson guy will run on us anyway. So, I mean, I would, like I said earlier, treat him like Brady.
Yeah.
So just to answer this, Nate doesn't get burned by the delay blitz linebacker because he gets rid of the ball very quickly, or he's more decisive. VA gets burned by that defense quite a bit. Just so you.
Yeah, Nathan says Standback did a great job last year picking up blitzes. Butler got burned once last game. Yeah, I saw that too. We'll see how he does the rest of the season.
Butler's known for picking up blitzes, though. That is one of the reasons they brought him back.
Yeah, Butler's supposed to be pretty good at picking up.
He takes pride in it.
So he did miss at least one that I saw too. So, but hopefully, I think he's got a good. He's got a proven record for picking up those blitzes.
Again, we have a new O-line coach and Butler was away for 2 years. So again, it's going to take time for everyone to kind of get on the same page, right? So we knew this was going to happen. I thought that the Lions would be 500 after the first 8-10 games. So I was counting on this past game to be a win against a Zachless Bombers.
I know.
So I'm a little concerned right now.
If they can make it up by winning this next game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing, if we can't get to the quarterback, the other thing is the rest of the defense just needs to play well, right? Our linebackers need to be able to stop the run, and at the moment they pass the line of scrimmage, our DBs need to be able to pass defend, right? So if they're doing their job well, if every person is doing their job, even if the front four can't get to the quarterback, we should still be able to do okay.
At least Zach's not a threat to run around. I mean, he can run if he has to, but he's not. I don't know if because like Arthur said, you're almost somewhat guarding against Strebler running too and daring him to beat you with his arm. Do you almost want to dare Zach to beat you with his legs? Can you dictate that? Only if you get a pass rush on him.
Well, hopefully we can get a disciplined pass rush so we don't have the ends cheating, going for the sack, but you got to have contain, right?
Yeah. All right. Okay. So my turn. So Greg says we have to defend against the pass rush.
Pass protection, yes.
Pass protection. Arthur is we need to have a good pass rush.
Mm-hmm.
I guess those would be my top two as well. And then the third one, I guess, would be we have to establish a run. I think it all starts. Offense all starts with them respecting the run. So we need to be able to do that. And
it sure didn't look like that last week.
Yeah. And that depends a lot on the O-line. So it's up to the O-line. But if we can establish a run, then I think our offense will be okay. And if our offense can do well, then everything else will kind of click into place. All right. So those are my thoughts. Hey guys, on the call, if you have any thoughts on what you think are keys to winning next game, let us put it in the chat. We'll put it up on screen as well. And while you're doing that, I guess we'll go into predictions for this game. So who wants to go first? Greg, Arthur? Rematch? Zach?
I think it's Greg's turn first.
Sure.
Didn't I go first last week?
So let's set the stage. Zach Collaros is back. We may or may not have Nathan Rourke. Even if he's not hurt badly, they may still decide to rest him one more game. If you want to think the long game, right? You want to make sure he's completely healthy. So if they decide to rest him another game, I'm okay with that. So potentially, we may not have Rourke.
I did go first last week because I won the prediction. So you guys said the winner goes first.
Yeah,
so I did pick first last week.
This week it's a wash, though. So
No. But last week, the first week, I went first. Okay, so it's a wash. I'll go first again. Okay, I'm going to say Winnipeg, BC, Zach full Winnipeg Bomber defense, but Brady less. But we saw how their backup goes. 23-16 Winnipeg. As much as it pains me to say that.
Okay, I'll go next then because I've always been going last.
I would like to be wrong, though, for those listening.
And then Arthur can provide his analysis.
Oh, boy.
I mean, you guys know I'm the optimistic bunch. So I still think BC can win this. If they execute on the things that we said that they need to do. I'm going to say 24-21 BC.
Ooh,
I like that.
Hope you're right, Roland.
Yeah, I hope so too. All right, Art's turn.
42-12 Winnipeg.
Wow. 42.
For who?
Oh, yeah, so they got for Winnipeg.
42-12 Winnipeg.
So you're expecting...
I'm expecting a greater margin of victory for Winnipeg, although it's no longer a short travel week for the Lions. But without Nate, like the Lions' confidence, they're still building the confidence under this new regime, right? And that Nathan Rourke is key to that confidence. Just like when the Lions lost Vernon Adams Jr. the last couple of years, they sagged. Now, yes, there's a new head coach and a new GM, but they're still learning. It's still trying to build this culture, and it's not built yet. Yeah. So this is a tough turnaround. If their backup running back Pedersen did not have such a great game with Oliveira, then it gives me a little bit more optimism. It's like to have, but. Wow. When the rookie does this to you, boy.
Earned by a backup quarterback and a rookie running back for a total of 500 yards or 400, whatever, yeah.
And just to take a page out of Greg's book, don't you think Zach Collaros has something to prove to the CFL?
Oh, yeah, he'll have a chip on his shoulder.
Oh, boy.
And he does play well under the dome.
Yeah.
It makes him look fast.
Yeah, and so we had no answers. I was searching for halftime adjustments for the Lions, right? What are they doing defensively, that they could make an adjustment? And I say, well, okay, because they did this. I mean, the only thing they did better was just they went deep, and then they got some 50-50 balls.
Yeah, but
only because the DB fell down.
We haven't been good at halftime adjustments for the last 3-4 years.
Well, no. Edmonton game 1, they were down. They're down 7-3, and then they had 4 touchdowns
last week.
Yeah, the week 1.
Yeah, but that's what Roland says. Up until this year, we were not good at halftime adjustments.
First half stats wise, we were doing well. We just couldn't close.
Yeah,
so we were playing well. We just couldn't score, right?
Then the second half came. It was touchdown. So something changed in the second half.
Okay, I'll give that to you. But that change is very small because we were actually we were getting the drives all the way up there, and we couldn't punch it into the end zone. So we were clicking on a lot of.
We couldn't even get into field goal range. We only had 1 field goal. So you go from only 1 field goal for the whole half to 4 touchdowns in a row.
Yeah, but
that's significantly.
We were up there. We just couldn't punch it in with Bryce, right? And then the other one was a third down gamble near midfield that we lost possession, right? So anyway.
I see what you're trying to get at, Roland, but the points are in my favor, right?
No, my point is that you got to have a culture of winning to be able to make halftime adjustments. I don't think we have that confidence. Once we dig ourselves into a hole, we don't have that resiliency to dig ourselves out of a hole halfway through the game. Our adjustments happen between games, but inside a game, the championship teams are able to do that because they have that confidence, knowing that we're blowing it in the first half, but we know what we need to get done. I don't know if we have that maturity yet. I'm hoping that we'll get there this year.
Well, it's a new regime this year, right? So we can't, the prior years that we can't hang that on Buck. So this basically what we have this year, we have 2 games, right? Yeah. We have 2 games. So yeah, and it needs to be built. It's going to take a third to half a year.
Yeah.
To have everyone on the same page.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're not out of it by then.
All right. I mean, your prediction is logical, but I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. So it's 9:41. I guess that's it. We'll call it a night. For those of you who joined us online, thanks for hanging with us. It was great chatting with you. Hopefully, we'll be able to turn around and we'll win this game. But it's going to be a tough one. But hopefully, it'll be an entertaining one as well. So if you're catching this show after the live stream, leave your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to chat with you. And if you're at the game, drop by. Where are we at? We're 246.
246 row V.
Yeah, 246 row V. I'd love
the
to
first 3 seats.
Meet up with you and take a selfie and chat. All right.
Nathan says, what defenses? You betcha, Nathan. What defense typically ragdolls Zach? We've seen some games where defense just ragdolls him. And okay, Toronto and Montreal in the Grey Cups, I get that, but say during the season when they were their 0-4 time, because the Lions maybe should dig out some of that film footage and figure it out.
Bets, right? Like what?
That was like a year ago at least.
Yeah.
Last year Winnipeg was finding ways to lose games. Remember they
were dropping. Dembski was dropping balls. They were fumbling, turnover, all that.
Well, yes, Dempsey would catch the ball. He'd be wide open running for a touchdown, and then he just drops the ball, and then it would be just like classic, like terrible decisions, like by everybody. I think Oliveira was injured, so it was just comedy of errors. But then they righted the ship. But yeah, Toronto has a way of just dictating, right? They're able to get pressure. And like
maybe the Lions should look at that Grey Cup footage, see what Toronto did.
Well, I mean, I think their linebacker play.
Yeah,
I think for the Argos, it was the linebacker play plus their front that really influenced the game, and then they're able to get some. They're like offensively, if they like for the Argos, they really beat them deep.
Okay. All right. Let's call it a night. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging with us. Take care. Have a great week, and we'll see you at the game, and also next Sunday for our next live stream.
Yep. Go Lions.
Take care,
Go Lions.
Go Lions.